My name is Christy. I am 31 years old and work from home. I live with my parents and don't go out much. My brother Scott got married last year, and his wife Jana seemed nice. I thought they were happy. But lately, something strange has been happening. Jana keeps visiting our house too often. At first, I thought she just wanted to spend time with the family. But as time passed, I started feeling uneasy. Why was she here so often? What was she really doing? I had no answers, but I knew something was not right. Jana acted like she belonged here. She was always smiling and relaxed, as if she had lived here for years. My parents liked her a lot and treated her like their own daughter. But I couldn't understand why she was here all the time. My brother never came with her. She came alone. Something felt odd about that. I wondered if there were problems in their marriage. Maybe she wasn't happy with Scott. But if that was true, why was she spending so much time here? I didn't know, but I planned to find out. One day, while we were sitting together, Jana suddenly asked, "Christy, why don't you have a boyfriend?" I was surprised. "I work from home, so I don't meet many people," I said. She nodded. "That's a problem. You should dress better and wear makeup." Her words made me uncomfortable. Why was she suddenly giving me advice? I never asked her for help. I didn't mind being single, but she seemed to think my life needed changing. I didn't want to argue, so I just smiled, but inside I was confused. Why was she so interested in my life? The next time Jana visited, she walked straight into my room. "Let's check your closet," she said. Before I could stop her, she started pulling out my clothes. "Wow, I didn't expect you to have such nice clothes," she said. She kept going through my things, touching my makeup, my jewelry, and even my shoes. I didn't know what to do. It felt like she was searching for something. But what? I stood there, feeling helpless. She acted as if she had every right to be there. I didn't want to be rude, but this didn't feel right. Jana finally left after spending hours in my room. I sighed in relief and started putting my things back in place. But then, I noticed something strange. One of my favorite sweaters was missing. I searched everywhere, but it was gone. I was sure I had seen it before Jana arrived. My heart sank. Had she taken it? But why would she steal from me? I had no proof, so I couldn't say anything. But I knew one thing for sure. Next time she came, I had to be more careful. I had to find out the truth. I couldn't just accuse Jana without proof. No one would believe me. My parents adored her, and Scott trusted her. If I told them she stole my sweater, they would think I was imagining things. So, I decided to set a trap. I bought a small camera and hid it in my room. If Jana really was stealing from me this time, I would catch her. I waited for her next visit, and sure enough, 1 month later, she arrived with her usual big smile. But this time, I was ready. I was going to find the truth. Jana came to my room again. "Today, I'll teach you how to do makeup," she said cheerfully. She opened my closet again and looked through my things. I acted normal and let her do whatever she wanted. After she finished doing my makeup, I went to the bathroom to wash my face. When I returned, she had already left. My heart raced as I ran to my computer. I checked the camera footage. There it was, Jana taking some of my makeup and putting it in her bag. My stomach tightened. I had proof she was stealing from me. I copied the video to my phone and walked to the living room. My brother Scott was sitting there. "Christy, stop depending on Jana," he said before I could speak. "She's helping you." I felt anger rise in my chest. "Helping me?" I asked. "You think she's here for me?" I held up my phone. "Look at this." Scott took my phone and watched the video. His face changed. "Jana, is this real?" he asked, confused. I crossed my arms. "Yes, she stole from me." I waited for his response, but his next words shocked me even more. Scott didn't defend me. Instead, he said, "You don't do anything all day. Jana is just trying to help you." I couldn't believe it. "I work from home, Scott. I earn my own money," I shouted. But he didn't care. Then, he dropped the biggest shock. "Jana and I are moving in here. You need to move out. My body went cold. My own brother was kicking me out of my home. My parents said nothing. They didn't stop him. I suddenly felt completely alone. I needed to think fast. I couldn't let them throw me away like this. I took a deep breath. Fine, I said, keeping my voice calm. But I'm taking my things with me. Scott laughed. What things? You don't own much. I smirked. Check with Mom and Dad. I bought most of the furniture and appliances. His face turned pale. You... what? He asked. My parents looked awkward. She's right, Mom admitted. Scott's mouth fell open. He had no idea I had been paying for everything. The power shifted. Now I had control. They thought they could push me out, but they didn't realize how much I had actually done for this house. That night, I packed my things, feeling both nervous and relieved. I called some friends and arranged for a moving truck. I wasn't going to leave empty-handed. The next morning, as the movers arrived, I watched them take my furniture, my appliances, and everything I had bought. Scott and Jana stood there in shock. You can't take all of this, Scott finally shouted. I turned to him and calmly said, check with Mom and Dad. I paid for all of it. He looked at our parents, waiting for them to deny it, but they stayed silent. He had no answer. Jana's face turned pale as she realized she had lost control. I pulled out my phone one last time. Oh, and before I go, I said, opening the video. I played the recording of her stealing my makeup. Scott grabbed the phone, watching in disbelief. Jana, what is this? He asked. She stammered. I just thought Christy didn't need all those expensive things. My mother gasped. Jana, you stole from her? My father's face darkened. Jana tried to defend herself, but the truth was right there. No more lies, no more pretending. I was finally free from all of them. I turned to my parents. You let them treat me like this. You believed them over me, I said. They looked guilty but said nothing. I wasn't going to beg them for love or respect. I had my own life now. Without another word, I stepped into the moving truck. As we pulled away, I looked back one last time. Scott and Jana were arguing. My parents stood in silence. It wasn't my problem anymore. I was done. A sense of relief filled me. For the first time in years, I was walking away from the people who had hurt me. Moving into my new apartment felt like a fresh start. The quiet was peaceful, and I finally had space to breathe. I focused on my work, writing more than ever before. No one barged into my room. No one questioned my choices. My friends supported me, and I realized that real family isn't always the one you're born into. Months passed, and I didn't speak to Scott, Jana, or my parents. I had no reason to. They made their choice, and I made mine. I was no longer the quiet girl trapped in my parents' house. I was free. One day, during a book signing event, I saw a familiar face in the crowd. It was Jana. She looked exhausted, her once confident smile gone. She held out a small bag. I brought back your things, she whispered. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. I simply stared at her. I need help, she added. But I had nothing to say. I looked at her, then at the stolen items in her hands. I shook my head. I don't know you, I said firmly, turning away. I wasn't the same girl she had once controlled. I walked out of the event without looking back. Jana had made her choices, just like my family had. I wasn't going to save her. I had saved myself, and that was enough. Later, I heard that after I left, my parents continued their bad spending habits. Scott realized he couldn't support them all, and the perfect life he imagined with Jana fell apart. But that wasn't my concern. I had moved on. I had built something for myself. I had finally chosen me. And for the first time in my life, I was truly free.